I recently sat down with the mayor of the seventh largest city in California, Mayor Rex Richardson of Long Beach, California. I asked him all the things that my followers have wanted to know for months, maybe even years. I asked him things like, what is going on with the homeless crisis here in the city of Long Beach? And also, whose responsibility is the riverbed? What are we doing about moving away from oil dependence? And how are we going to deal with this affordability issue? I asked him about District 7 and District 9 feeling like they've been neglected for decades. I asked him, hey, do you think the city of Long Beach could have done a better job dealing with ICE and Border Patrol? And of course, I asked him about policing and economic development, taxes. And the one thing we didn't get deeply into because I ran out of time was a deep dive on the budget. So we're going to do a part 2 on that. If you listen to the podcast or you watch it on YouTube, you will see that or hear that Rex and I are in 2 different locations. One is his office at City Hall, and the other location is a coffee shop. And that's because it is against the rules of the mayor, the city, whatever the words are, to talk about your campaign while you're in your public office. I like to remind everybody that I am not a journalist. I am not an attorney. I am just a voting resident asking questions that come off the top of my head and questions that come from my followers. Just like every single video I post on social media, I don't have a script. I am not reading off a teleprompter. I am just going off my memory. And a few notes. Not gonna lie, sometimes I use a few notes, especially when I'm nervous. No matter who I interview, I don't rebuttal them. I just ask the question and I let them answer, and the viewer can make their own decisions and their own opinions about the subjects that we talked about. So if you're interested in how the city of Long Beach affects us as residents of the city, the state, the nation, and the world, I think you'll find this episode really interesting. Well, thank you for meeting with me today.
Crowdsource Carrie's in the house. All right.
I want to ask you first about the difference between the mayor and the city manager. So a lot of residents do not fully understand that there is a difference. Yeah. And they think you are like the CEO of the city, which you kind of are. But how would you explain the difference to people that don't understand the difference?
Here in Long Beach, our charter lays out a distributed form of government. So you have the city council makes decisions, budget decisions on a whole wide range of things. The city manager manages the 6,000 employees in the city, the day-to-day operations. And right in the middle of both of them is the mayor, elected citywide. The mayor has one hand on each wheel. You chair the city council meetings, you appoint the committees, you have the ability to veto. And on this side, you introduce the budget. Your recommendations come every year on the budget. But the form of government forces collaboration, which I think is a good thing.
Right.
It forces all of us to work together. So there's shared sort of, we all share in the decision making. I think that's actually a good thing for our level of government. So Long Beach is a little bit of a Goldilocks, right? It's, porridge is too hot, porridge is too cold, just right. Bed too soft, too cold, just right. With our decision making, we're not the same structure as like the city of LA, where you have a mayor who appoints everything and a city manager and no city manager and a city council who's over here. We're also not the weak mayor status like most of the cities in LA County where they have a rotating mayor. The charter says the mayor is the chief spokesperson of the city and the head of the legislative department where the decisions are made, the policy department and the city clerk's office.
Okay.
So it's very unique, our form of government in America.
Okay. And so when people get frustrated about things going on in the city and they come after you, how do we decide who's in trouble? Who are we mad at?
People can be mad at whoever they want to be mad at. And as mayor, it's inherent that no matter what happens in the city, it is your fault. And you just got to know that going in, because people don't want a civics lesson about, hey, my mail was late. Well, that's the federal government. Or, you're forcing me to get a new bin of my trash can. I only wanted my 2 bins. I didn't want the 3rd bin. Well, that was actually a state decision handed down to cities. People don't necessarily care about that.
Yeah.
They just want to know that I hear you And we're working on it, and we will get that answer for you. That's what people really want to know. So I focus less on trying to explain away who's responsible for what.
Yeah.
The city itself has to do a good job at customer service and delivering results.
Right.
The other part is we're, in local government, the role of local government has like grown over time. So issues like homelessness historically was a federal issue, or counties and states handled it. Mental health. No city has a mental health department, not one. But if you see someone having a challenge on the street, you are going to call your mayor. You're going to call your council person, even though all the decision making and all the resources and legally all the power around mental health actually rests with the state and the federal government. So local government, it's called localism. We have an emerging sort of responsibility and profile now, right? 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we didn't have to deal with homelessness to this degree. You didn't have to deal with 5,000 mattresses being dropped off every day on your streets either. So the role has certainly changed. And a big part of it is big ideas used to come from the federal government, right? Think about, everything that came out of the Great Depression and New Deal and all of that. Well, big ideas are being driven by cities now. Guaranteed income, solutions on economic development, industry clusters. Cities are driving all the hot things that are happening in America right now because the federal government has had partisan gridlock for 40 years now. And so less decision-making and faith is being placed on other levels of government, and more expectations are being placed on local government. So it's just the reality today. Yeah.
So with that being said, when we talk about the rivers that are on each side of Long Beach, so whose responsibility are the rivers?
It's all of
because we're the
yeah.
end result, right?
Right.
Of other cities, other counties.
It's all of our responsibility. The two rivers are managed by the county, right? But there are 88 cities upriver. And when it rains upriver, it flows down two rivers and multiple watersheds, and it impacts our beach in Long Beach. So in many ways, we carry the burden for the entire region. And we can't shoulder it alone. Our job is to make sure we work in collaboration. Regional collaboration is the way you solve it. So the county needs to be a partner because they control the actual rivers. There are regional water quality control districts, which are regional districts. They have to have a role. The state has the ability to set policy and rulemaking. They have to play a role. So our job in the city, in many ways, is the facilitator and the implementer. So if we know, hey, there are, 800 tons of waste that come down the river, we think this is the solution, but we need all of you to participate. And that's really what we're doing. So we've seen our water quality scores in the dry seasons in Heal the Bay, all A's and B's on every one of our beaches in the dry season. But in the wet season, when it rains, that's when we see the challenges. So we know where to focus. Yeah. So it's all Heal Bay scores. I mean, it's changed so much that we're hosting marathon swimming, open water swimming in Long Beach. That's going to be an international story. And it's our job to talk about how far we've come in water quality in 2028.
So it's interesting you say that because we're ocean people, right? And I see the scores, but I've never considered dry versus wet season.
That's exactly what it is. So during the wet season is when when it rains, it pours in Long Beach. Our infrastructure was built a century ago when it never rained in Southern California, like the Tony song, right? It rains in Southern California now. So it takes time to build the new infrastructure to be able to capture and protect the coastline. So one of the projects, I'm not sure if you're tracking this, but we're actually implementing along the mouth of both LA and San Gabriel Valley River, 2 trash capture systems.
Yes, I did hear
working
about
with Ocean Cleanup. It's pretty exciting. Communities wanted this for years. It's finally actually happening in our city. 2 trash capture systems that will take hundreds of tons of waste before it even hits our beaches, because the city spends millions of dollars every year on raking the beach, cleaning the beach, and now we're going upstream, preventing a lot of that waste from hitting the beach to begin with.
I am surprised on the west side how much reaches the water, because our, it's natural down here in the river, our section of the river, and other areas not so natural. But I would imagine some of that natural habitat is catching it, and it's still bad.
Well, I'll tell you, it's improved, but there's a long way to go. And I would love to see a natural bottom river the whole way. I would love to see that.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, those are the things. It takes local demand regional coordination, and some additional sort of leadership from the state to make these big transformational projects happen. So
Right.
one city can't do it alone. It takes bringing people together.
Right.
Yeah.
Who do you think are adjacent cities? Who's the most helpful to our city?
Right now, we're working really closely with Seal Beach because they have the San Gabriel Valley River.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So Joe Kalmick and some of those folks. The county's been a big partner. But we're unique in Long Beach. Like we have like both mouths of the river here. So it's not, other cities may not see it as immediate of a problem as we do.
Right.
And so sometimes you leverage other tools to get them to the table.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is something about Long Beach that you think people outside of Long Beach think, but we know living here in Long Beach, it's not that stereotype?
I'll be honest with you, like in Long Beach, I try not to leave.
Right.
It's almost easier for me to leave the city on a plane than it is in a car.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a meeting in LA, so much stuff is going on in Long Beach that I'm always either going to be late or I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Because you don't want to deal with the traffic and all of that. So Long Beach is a city, where if you can have the opportunity to live here and to work here, best situation ever.
Right.
To never have to jump on that 405. So we're pretty self-contained, a city with 2 community college campuses, Compton College right on the border, Long Beach State, and Cal State Dominguez Hills right on the border, 2 universities serving our city.
Mm-hmm.
We're a city with multiple local economic drivers, from the port to all of the infrastructure around the airport, space, beach, thousands of new jobs coming to our city, healthcare, Long Beach Memorial Hospital with thousands of employees, plus neighborhood clinics.
Yep.
Public education is our biggest public employer in the city. So you can work at the chancellor's office, K-12, community college. We have jobs.
Right.
A lot of cities don't have that.
Right.
So our job is to make sure, that we have the housing to support those jobs, and we have jobs of the future, because some things we've counted on for a long time, we can't count on anymore.
Sure.
Like some of the work around oil, big industry for our city. One of the biggest challenges we're facing is that we can't count on it in the future anymore.
Right.
We've counted on it economically for the last century.
Right.
Many of the streets, infrastructure, down the coastline, oil.
Right.
Party's over. It's time to grow new industries and bet on things that will be here for the future. So I think we're unique in that we're a very self-contained city, and there's really not much of a reason to leave.
Right. As far as touching on oil, we're trying to move away from that dependency.
Yeah.
Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah. So Long Beach, we a little more than a century ago, we discovered oil, and we became literally the Beverly Hillbillies. Like, people moved here from the Midwest. We saw incredible growth in our city. And around that time, some of the folks who were here before were not on board with it. In 1923, the entire planning commission quit.
Really?
NIMBY, not my backyard.
Right.
The entire planning commission quit. NIMBY hasn't gone anywhere in the city. So actually, one person, you should go deep on this, one of the planning commissioners ran for vice president of the United States on the prohibitionist ticket.
Okay.
And wanted Long Beach to be known as the most prohibitionist city in America.
Interesting.
This was all around 1920, 1923, 1924. So as the city began to grow and develop largely around oil, and then the Pacific Fleet with the Navy and all of that, we began to grow. That's why you see a lot of 100 anniversaries happening right now.
Right.
St. Mary's Hospital just celebrated 100 years because we needed healthcare. Long Beach Airport just celebrated 100 years, the oldest municipal airport in California, because we needed air mobility because people were flying in.
Interesting.
Farmers Merchant Bank just celebrated 100 years because people needed a depository institution. And North Long Beach voted overwhelmingly to annex into the city of Long Beach in 1923 because there was a dispute between the city of LA and the city of Long Beach on where you wanted to go. Some picked LA, Watts, Wilmington, San Pedro picked LA. North Long Beach picked Long Beach. And it only took us 99 years to get a mayor from North Long Beach, so we're heading in the right direction. So then all of this time goes by and our economy becomes tied to it. We begin taxing oil. We began connecting our city employees, how we pay their salaries, to oil.
Right.
Because we made so much money. Over the last 20 years, $6 billion were made off of those 4 oil islands to the state.
Wow.
Right? We get a small portion of that. And now California is moving away from oil production. So it's no longer a smart bet for us to bet on it.
Right.
Like we shouldn't necessarily hire a staff person who's going to be here for 30 years and retire based on money that won't be here for 30 years. Right? So, which means we're now in a transition as a city. We have to switch those resources out. If they come in, use them on one-time expenses, pave more streets, build more, improve more parks, one-time expenses, but not on structural costs. You have to find more structurally robust revenue sources. Traditionally, those are, property taxes, property values, sales taxes, hotel taxes, tourism. So we're in this big transition because we can't necessarily count on that any longer. And there's big infrastructure needs, especially as our infrastructure wasn't built for this amount of rain that we get.
Right.
So that tells us we have to pivot now off of something that's been here for a century. It's not an easy pivot, but we're proud that we're making it.
Right.
By 2029 will be the first time that our general fund, our structural general fund, will not be balanced based on oil money by 2029.
Interesting.
That'll be the first time in our city's history.
What would you say to people that are like, drill, baby, drill?
Well, it's not really a local decision, right? So these are decisions by the state and the federal government. What I would say is this has happened in our community for a long time, and our community is born, we bear the brunt of this.
Right.
So if there's going to be a conversation about stopping, it's like you've been married for 80 years and it's a divorce. Who gets the house? Who gets the kids? Who's going to do right by Long Beach? So whatever the resolution is or the dissolution is, we have to make sure that our communities have been impacted or made whole.
Sure.
There will be opportunities if wells go away. What are we going to build there? Parks, homes?
Right.
What does it cost to remediate those wells, and who's going to pay for that?
Sure.
The 4 oil islands, what's their future? We have to start discussing that now.
Right.
We've begun discussing that right now. And the services that are based on that revenue. So we talked about the millions of dollars of raking the beach.
Right.
And the lifeguards and the firefighters and the police officers. How are they going to be paid? So we have to have the time to develop sustainable revenue sources to offset what we've counted on for 80 years with oil money.
Right.
And that's why you see investments into our Grow Long Beach strategy, investments into tourism. Why are we bringing more people to our city? Well, they stay in our hotels and they provide resources and they shop here. They support our small businesses and they create more revenue to provide services. Why are we building an amphitheater? Well, this is the largest sports and entertainment market in America, and the money's all being made in Anaheim, Irvine, and Inglewood. Sure, I like to go to a concert in Inglewood, but what are you going to do before and after? What hotel are you going to stay at?
Right.
Right. Long Beach, we have the hotels. We have the great restaurants. We have a walkable downtown and business districts across the city. We just have to create more demand to bring more people into our city to spend money. And that's why that's a big part of the Grow Long Beach strategy. It's that plus the job drivers. We're talking 10,000 jobs in aerospace in Long Beach by 2030. That's a big challenge to hire and train 10,000 people. But most cities would kill for that opportunity. And I think we're prepared for that.
What would you say to people that feel like their taxes just keep going up, but then you're saying, oh, we're bringing all of this entertainment, we're creating money by, generating revenue from hotels and concerts and restaurants. What would you say to those people?
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a civics lesson here. Long Beach has been spoiled in many ways that we had revenue other cities didn't have. We had oil. And because we had oil, we didn't focus on building revenue the way cities around us focused on.
Sure.
And we had redevelopment that ended in 2013. It was a program where tax increment was invested into our streets and our infrastructure and economic development. And that ended in 2013. I live on the border of Long Beach, Lakewood, Bellflower.
Right.
And I always hear, why do my streets, as soon as I cross into Lakewood, look better? Let me tell you why. Lakewood passed a streets bond, and they've done it regularly. A bond is when you take out debt over 30 years to build a civic center or build streets or whatever. Guess how many street bonds the city of Long Beach has passed in its 128-year history?
I have no idea.
Not one.
Wow.
We've done some recreation stuff. Recreation Park Bond, 1923. We were big thinkers in 23, right? We were building all kind of stuff. Recreation Park Bond, 1923. We did El Dorado Park around 1970-ish, right? But our Civic Center was not built with a bond.
Interesting.
Civic Center was built leveraging port and oil money. Well, if oil's going away, how are you going to, when Civic Center gets old, what are you going to do?
Right.
So if we don't have the oil for the future and redevelopment is gone, if you want to have a city that is prepared for the future, we have to start funding it the way, more traditional ways. Economic development, like Long Beach is the best kept secret. That's great because we could afford for it to be a secret. But we need people to know and spend money here in our city to leverage that to be able to do things we need to do. So we've focused on economic development, and we're doing it in a way, it's not gentrifying, like building a SoFi stadium in the middle of a city and push people out. We're doing it in a way that's like thoughtful, leveraging small businesses and culture, bringing like what we did with Warped Tour, 85,000 people a day. Our big event before was only the Grand Prix, one weekend.
Right.
Now we have multiple weeks where our city is economically viable. You remember all the talk about the Queen Mary financially ruined and all that?
Always.
You remember that?
It's over and over. Yes.
It's been profitable every year we've been in. You know what's saving the Queen Mary?
What?
Electronic dance music.
Really?
Some of the biggest EDM festivals in America.
I obviously don't listen to that music.
I don't either.
They do it at the Queen Mary?
Dream State, Apocalypse, Day Trip. These are some of the biggest EDM festivals in California take place in and around the Queen Mary. And we make millions of dollars. The Queen Mary, we own it as an asset, so you make direct revenue. And when folks use our hotels and shop at our restaurants, we make indirect revenue through sales tax and through TOT.
Interesting.
So that's an example of leaning into economic development. And then our tax structure has to change.
Right.
It just has to change.
It's interesting how I never thought about, we kind of been getting money the easy way from the oil companies. It's like Daddy Warbucks is cutting us off.
I mean,
essentially.
Look, I told you, when you're the mayor, everything's your fault.
Yeah.
Even oil, even though this is a century-long industry and rules that are state and all that, but it's a reality. You just take it and you guide your city forward. So we're guiding our city forward, but we have to be, we need to make sure our residents know and understand why we're doing what we're doing, why we're investing in infrastructure, and that allows for jobs to be created. Why are we investing in, here's one way to look at it. 100 years ago, when the Port of Long Beach was envisioned or all of these things happened, I doubt someone said, I think this is going to be the biggest port in America. It is today. Somebody was thoughtful and had the vision to say that's something that's going to be here. Well, today, if we were to look at the industries that we count on today and ask, will they be here in 50 years or 100 years? I don't know that they will. Our largest private employer in the city is Long Beach Memorial Hospital. Healthcare is a major employer in our city, and it's under attack right now. Medi-Cal, federal eligibility, healthcare has been under attack. And with the advent of technology and AI, will it be the job centers it is today in 50 years?
Right.
I don't know. I want it to be, so we're going to focus on it and develop it. But I don't know that it will be.
Right.
Another one, public education. We're home to the Chancellor's Office, the CSU, Long Beach, 2 community college campuses. Public education is our number one public employer in the city. Are people going to get their degrees the same way in 50 years that they do today? Is it going to be as focused on the ground, or is it going to be more workplace based? I don't know, but we want it to be, so we're going to fight for it.
Right.
So what will be here in 50 and 100 years? I have some bets. I think in 100 years, we will still have a very long beach. It may look different in different areas, sea level rise, but we're still going to be a coastal town. So the question for us, how do we leverage that to create real economic opportunity over time?
Right.
How do we make sure it's clean? How do we make sure it is an iconic coastline on the California coast? Because people will always come to California.
Yeah.
How do we make sure they know they need to get to Long Beach?
Right.
Leveraging things like the 2028 games on the global stage helps us to build that profile.
Right.
Here's another thing that I think will be here in a century: the Port of Long Beach. Trade across the Pacific is only grown. It's not slowing down. If anything, we're on track to double our importance and our throughput by 2050. So how do we make sure that port is clean, that it is not a burden on our community, but a benefit in every way to our community? And how do we make sure we protect jobs at the port?
Right.
That automation doesn't completely destroy the economic benefit of having a public port. Those are decisions you have to make now to make sure it's there.
Yeah, you're being proactive.
You got to be proactive.
Investing.
Exactly. And the third thing, industry, that I think will be here, which I don't know that people expected this 100 years ago, but they're still here: Long Beach Airport. Our legacy isn't flights, because we actually have a really restrictive noise ordinance and it's working. Our legacy is all the advanced manufacturing, all the infrastructure that's happened over the last century here.
Sure.
The DC program, the C-17 program, all the planes that were built here in our city, all of that infrastructure created thousands of jobs. We used to have 55, 60,000 Boeing jobs in our city. Now you ask me, I think that legacy will continue, but it's going to be space. It's going to be satellites. It's going to, once we touched flight, we never stopped, right? Once you touch space, that infrastructure has to be built out, and it's never going to stop. So I think over the next century, you're going to see that continue to happen. It'll advance. We're not going to be a race to the bottom for jobs. We're not going to beat Ohio and some of these other areas for these low wage jobs, but we'll get the smart stuff.
Right.
We'll get the jobs where you can get a certificate at Long Beach City College with no degree and make $65 an hour at Vast and be able to afford to live in your city. So if as a mayor, if I have a 100,000 square foot warehouse, do I want a trucking warehouse where 20, 30 jobs that are just above minimum wage? Or do I want to fill it up with hundreds of jobs of people who are building things?
Right.
To win in this new economy, we have to choose. We have to pick winners. And we're picking advanced manufacturing. So that's just one way to think about the transition that's happening. We've done it before when Mayor O'Neill was mayor. As soon as she became mayor, federal government announced the Navy shipyard was pulling out. And she said, well, we're going to lean into the future, the 3 T's. It was trade with the port. It was technology, tourism. Some say it wasn't technology, it was transportation. But I just talked to Historical Society.
Yeah.
It was,
and they corrected you?
No, someone corrected me, and I went to Historical Society, and they said I was right. That was trade, technology, tourism. And then she added an R later, retail. TTTR. I think the TTT, 3 T's sounds cleaner.
Yeah.
But that was the focus in the 90s and the early 2000s, right? Today, it's Grow Long Beach, is growing economy that will be here for a century. That's what we're working on right now.
So 2 questions on that. Number 1, what would you say to the residents that live downtown and all these people are coming in and they just want to go to the grocery store?
Yeah.
They just want to, there is not a central grocery store. I'm hearing this a lot from people in D1.
Yeah.
And second question, what would you say to the people that want to push back on defense industry coming to Long Beach?
So 2 things. So on grocery, I know what that's like because I represented North Long Beach in the 9th District, and we fought for many years to get the very basic amenities. Grocery stores, we're the only district without a bank. We got our bank when I was on city council. We didn't even have a paramedic, and we fought and restored Rescue 12.
Right.
There are certain things that grocery stores look for. They're looking for certain incomes. They're looking for access to parking, loading docks. The good news is there are a number of grocery stores that are making investments in Long Beach right now. You just had one up in North Long Beach open last week. And there are some that have some leases haven't been announced and others. So having smart economic development and being able to sit across the table and say, yeah, I need you to do 3 stores in our city.
Sure.
Right? That matters and that counts. In terms of sort of the impact of tourism, I think we've been smart. I think it's smart growth development. So for example, how do you invest in traffic plans that say, how do you bring people to downtown for 2028 but not cars?
Right.
Well, that means you have to make sure that people can park at Long Beach City College, Long Beach State, and have shuttle systems in. You have to make sure that we leverage the A-line. A-line, faster trains, cleaner trains. We have to look at multimodality.
Sure.
I'm excited about the water taxis from
Me too.
Malibu, Santa Monica, down to South Bay, all the way to Long Beach. And the question for us is, how do we leverage this Olympic moment to create better systems for the people who will be here for generations to come.
Sure, after, so we're not just affected, we're launched.
Right, so that was one. And what's your other one?
People are concerned about defense companies coming to
So
Long
it's important
Beach.
to know our history. So defense companies have always been in the city.
Right.
Boeing is a defense company. Long Beach was home to the Pacific Fleet that moved in around 1910.
Right.
We were home to the Naval Shipyard. A lot of our economy was building and maintaining ships in our city. And what you see now is the next generation of what was already in place. So as a city, our responsibility is we set the conditions through zoning and land use. So we can say, these are allowed uses. Manufacturing, for example. We can say, these are the things you can do because it's close to a neighborhood or close to a school. But as a city, we don't pick which company goes where. That's not the role that the city plays. Unless the city's like giving money to attract companies, but we're not doing that. Right? Frankly, because California doesn't really do that. Other states, Texas is doing that right now, but in California or not. So what you're seeing take place was years of we updated our land use around the city. The Globe Master specific plan was around the airport. It was neo-industrial zoning in North Long Beach on the west side. We did that. We went through that process, and that made it easy for investment to take place. That's what's happening.
Okay.
And what's attracting the talent what's attracting the companies is really three things. One, talent. If you want an engineer or a young welder to be somewhere, you want somewhere with housing and schools. You want somewhere with a sense of belonging where we speak 200 languages in the city. We go through great strides to protect our culture of diversity in our city.
Right.
That matters. Someone may not feel comfortable moving to certain areas in, say, Orange County.
Good point.
So talent is key. Plus our access to educational institutions where a welder can go to Long Beach City College or engineer at Long Beach State or the tier 1 and tier 2 research institutions within 30 miles of Long Beach.
Sure.
So we're winning the talent fight. And our fight is against El Segundo or LA or Irvine. We're competing with Austin and Denver and Phoenix.
Right.
Phoenix got it going on. Phoenix is hot. Long Beach is cool. That's what's happening. Second part, the legacy infrastructure. You don't have to create more space for this. We're taking what used to be C-17 space and it's been converted into space.
Sure.
That's what's happening, right? So the infrastructure doesn't have to really change. And three, it's a culture of investment. So California's culture has a reputation of companies leaving California. We've bucked that trend in Long Beach. So in Long Beach, you've had Ford, for example. Ford used to have a factory here on the west side. Between 1930 and 1959, we built 1.5 million Ford vehicles in Long Beach. And then it packed up the factory and moved because the oil under the factory was more profitable than the factory itself.
Interesting.
Ford is back. Last year, they opened the new Advanced Electric Vehicle Development Center to design a platform for an entirely new fleet of electric vehicles. All that design is here.
Interesting.
In Long Beach, a 2-building campus. And after a year, they announced 2 weeks ago that they cracked the code. They figured it out. They developed the vehicle, which will go into production and be delivered next year. And it's being developed, the mass production's in Louisville. They're changing the entire Louisville factory based on what they discovered and designed, the R&D that took place here.
Interesting.
So when you see companies like that and Vast building the world's first commercial space station, when I announced them on our first State of the City, there were 40 employees. Today, they're north of 1,200 in 3 years.
Wow.
That's incredible growth. So when you see these companies come in, and a lot of it is space.
Right.
Like space and defense, like the reality is the infrastructure and space is being developed out. It's likely going to be defense. It's either development of pharmaceuticals and fiber optic cables. That's one part of it. But a lot of it is like, how do you protect information? How do you protect satellites that are streaming information or whatever in space?
Sure.
So a lot of that is defense.
What about, I think it's Anduril Technologies. That's one that people are very sensitive about right now based on what's happening in the world. Do you have any?
No, I get it. I mean, I get it. It's a few things. So one, we don't pick the company. We set the conditions. We don't necessarily pick the company.
Because basically the area is known for manufacturing, I'm assuming.
Right, exactly.
Then whoever owns the building, the landlord chooses the tenant.
But we don't pick who that name is. So if it's Boeing or Lockheed Martin or McDonnell Douglas or whatever, we don't pick that.
Right. I own a business, so I get it. It has to be zoned.
Right.
And only certain things can go here. And then I sign up with the landlord and get my city permits. But if it's not zoned for what I'm using it for, then I can't go there.
So it's a few things that people should know. One, we are not zoned or rated for munitions development in the city.
Okay.
Advanced manufacturing does not mean that you can stockpile weapons and munitions in our city. It's schools, it's libraries, it's residences. We're not zoned for that.
Okay.
The second thing people should know, we don't have a military airport.
Right.
Certain things cannot take place here because, again, it's a neighborhood regional airport.
Sure.
So certain things can't take place. You're not going to build, a jet loaded up with rockets and launch it from Long Beach. It's not legal. It's not something that we can actually do.
What about shipping them out?
You can't mass produce them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not what's rated within the land use. So our job as a city is to focus on like the design, the health, the safety aspects of building.
Okay.
That's what we do. And we're not rated for mass production of munitions. I think residents should know that. R&D could take place here.
Yeah.
Been here for a century. 2, our city, we set the conditions for investment. And we set the conditions, and it's largely from a building and safety and health standpoint.
Okay.
And the other part is what's really attracting industry is talent, is people. Like, do workers want to live here? Do we have the talent base that's already here to fill these kinds of jobs? That's what's driving this investment.
Right. On that, I just want to touch on one thing before we leave. What would you say to the people on the west side that feel like they're constantly ignored for decades, and also the North Long Beach, which seems to be coming around, but they're the ones that when I talk to people, and you're the mayor, but when they're worried about the pollution and the environmental aspects and their health.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I live in one of those areas. I represented North Long Beach on the city council, raising my children there.
Right.
I served on the regional air quality management district board because we learned that there was a company that had hexavalent chromium-6 leaking in the North Long Beach Paramount areas, and I wanted to do something about it. So I learned what the hell hexavalent chromium-6 was, and I stepped up and joined our air quality management district, and we monitored and addressed that situation. These patterns of disparity didn't happen overnight. It's no mistake that the 91 freeway goes where the 91 freeway goes and the 17 goes where the 17 goes. There's a history of building hostile sort of infrastructure that has a legacy of, right? And it goes back to racist housing covenants in our city and restrictive housing policy to where freeways are built. And so I like to compare this to, let's say, a garden. You build a garden and you plant all the things you want in that garden, tomatoes and cucumbers and whatever. And someone builds a garden over here and puts the things that they want. Now you're watering this garden and they're watering their garden and you're tending to this garden. But if you turn off that faucet and you walk away and you stop tending to that garden for a year, for 20 years, for 50 years, you come back in, oh, I'm the new tender of the garden. I'm going to turn on that hose. That's no longer a garden. It's not going to bear any fruit. It's weeds. It's things that stole the nutrition. You got to start over in many ways. Remove the things that ruin the soil, take out the weeds, and re-sow the soil, make those investments. So in Long Beach, the gardener is, you elect a new council person, a new mayor, and they come in and they turn on the faucet and expect fruit to bear. After 50 years of neglect, 60 years of neglect, you turn on a faucet and you expect it to bear fruit. It's not going to bear fruit. You have to go in and redesign the entire community. That's invested in land use and planning and specific plans that focus on the things it needs, the grocery stores, the banks, the housing that's affordable. That's what Long Beach is doing, the work to change the system long term. And then you turn on the faucet and bring the money and the resources that are needed to make it grow. But we have to stop referring to these things as if if we just took this easy thing, this complex issue would be solved, because that's disrespectful of the generations of people who know what's real,
right?
Who know what they've dealt with for many years. My job as mayor where the land use plans, all that, happening. Much of it has happened. Uptown plan, West Side plan, Central Long Beach plan happened, right? The investments. So the weeds in the community, those are your check cashing places and your liquor stores.
Yeah, they're like predatory.
So you clean that up, right? Alcohol nuisance abatement ordinance. A lot of these things that we've done have made real progress there. But you now need to make sure you're investing the resources to see the growth, the housing, the economics to make it work. In terms of the environment, the West Side is boxed in by the port and the 710 freeway. The port has a social responsibility to be the greenest port in America and to invest in the West Long Beach community. So we've called on them over the next decade. It's called the West Side Promise for every department, including the port, to put their best foot forward over a decade. No, we're giving you a grant. Good luck. How can we show up for the West Side in a way with sustained investment over a decade? Because what we did in North Long Beach, it was Councilman Neal before me, then it was me. And we focused on the Uptown Renaissance over time. It didn't happen overnight.
Right.
That's the kind of investment and focus that has to happen in the community to really see that kind of production.
That makes sense. For this next portion of the interview with Mayor Rex Richardson, we had to change locations. This is a campaign rule, a public office rule, where you cannot speak about your campaign in your public office. So we moved from Rex's office to a local coffee shop.
I haven't raised a single tax as mayor.
Really?
You didn't know that?
I don't know, because property tax, is that what you're talking about?
I haven't raised a single...
Any taxes?
Not one tax since I've been mayor.
Okay. Why do people say that then?
Because I think, so there have been taxes the county has raised and regional taxes, but the city of Long Beach has not levied a single tax since I've been mayor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
a lot of misinformation out there.
If I wanted to look that up, where would I look? How could I verify
Every
that
election
for
is
people?
which election raised the tax on it. Because taxes have to be raised by the voters.
Okay.
So you can look at election history since I became mayor.
So it's by the voters.
Yeah. You can't unilaterally. I get that all the time. Mandami just balanced his budget by raising taxes on the wealthy. And I'm like, yeah, in New York, they have income tax in their city. And they have taxes that they can raise unilaterally without a vote of the people.
Yeah, and they have a different government. The way it's set up is different.
Here in California, you can't raise taxes without a vote of the people.
Right.
So LA County has done that. Long Beach hasn't. Now, me personally, I've supported those things because I've supported community college bonds. I voted for LA County Measure A. I supported that because that's real dollars on homelessness. And the reality is, if LA County Measure A hadn't passed, the funding on homelessness would have gone away.
Right.
And so I think it's important for people to really understand, like, your city and your county and your state and your federal government, they're all different. They're not the same.
Just like when people say, oh, I want to end ICE. We can't at the city level.
I mean, we can do
city level things, but yeah.
Right.
I'm going to ask you questions that my followers ask. People want to know, how do they know that the money that we get as a city for mental health, how do we know it's going to people that need mental health?
So let's debunk a fact right now.
Okay.
Long Beach doesn't get money for mental health.
Okay.
Mental health is a state and a county function. That's actually state law.
Okay.
That the dollars that go to mental health are administered by the county. Now, homeless outreach, sure, we can get funded for that.
Right.
But mental health outreach, no, it's actually the county. So the way it works, we partner with the county. And you have your own elected county representatives, but we partner. So we have a program called the MET, the Mental Evaluation Team, where we work with county clinicians who actually join our Long Beach police officers on special calls for people who have a mental health crisis.
Okay.
Another thing, since local cities aren't funded to do mental health, we have to use our own money to do some of this outreach.
Sure.
So it created a new community crisis response team. These are unarmed individuals who are trained in mental health and casework, who go out and are actually deployable. And we fund that locally. Okay. So we actually don't get any mental health money. And it just scaled in our last budget. We scaled it citywide. It was a pilot in West Side and downtown.
Sure.
So we piloted coming out of the pandemic. We had some recovery dollars, so we tested it with one-time dollars. We saw that it worked. We certainly could use more, but we're one of the few cities in California that has actually created an unarmed community crisis response team when someone's having a mental health emergency. But I think it's important for people to know that mental health is not something the city is funded to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, policing.
Yeah, let's talk about
So
police.
for people across the city, no matter where people are on the political spectrum, people are telling me we need more policing.
I wouldn't disagree.
So, but there's also a group of people that are like, policing is not the answer.
Right.
And we need to be compassionate and all the things. What is your take on policing and where our police are at and the compassion aspect of it? And
I think it's both.
Mm-hmm.
So let's paint the picture. So when I became mayor, right at the beginning of 2023, it's only been 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We were dealing with the Great Resignation. That's when people stopped coming to work. They wanted to work remotely. Some jobs you can't work remotely, like policing, like refuse hauling. And so governments were impacted by the very same thing. We saw as high as 26% vacancy in city hiring.
Okay.
And so we had to put a big focus on hiring. So 2 stories I'll tell you. One, I couldn't get my trash collected. I'm the mayor and my trash didn't get collected.
Right.
And so I brought in the HR director, civil service director, public works. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
My trash continues to not be collected.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have about 17 guys in the refuse department who are doing the job of about 40. Okay, so why aren't we hiring?
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take to hire? It takes about 7 months to hire.
Why does it take so long?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So it took 7 months to hire. Okay, is that when the position's posted? Or if I say I want 20 refuse haulers not posted, if it's not posted, 11 months.
Right.
That's too long. So I asked them to put the entire schedule on a Gantt chart and show me how long every step takes. And are these steps federal, state, or local rules? Where are the requirements coming from? The majority of the process was our own local rules.
Oh.
So we took it to the voters with Measure JB in 2024.
Okay.
This is the Long Beach Jobs Promise. It consolidated our hiring into one single department. It streamlined our processes. And we just got the report back that our hiring is now under 90 days in our city. We're the first big city in California to hire under 90 days.
Okay.
So what has that enabled us to do? Hire faster. So on police, significant vacancies when we started. We've hosted 5 police academies in 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken at 4 graduations, and we're now in academy class number 100. Guess how many recruits we went for? 100.
Okay.
We got 98. It was the 100 for 100 campaign. And we have hired 248 police officers since the day I became mayor of Long Beach.
Okay.
To put it in perspective, that's more in 3 years than any 3-year span in our city's history.
Okay.
So hiring has been a big focus for us, staffing up. I would also say how we hire. How are we getting success now in staffing up? Because you have to account for people who are retiring.
Right.
You have to account for people who leave the profession. So you have to hire more, bring on more than who are leaving.
Sure.
So we had to create an incentive package. So we created a very robust incentive package designed to attract young officers. 1, childcare, $2,000 a month. Or childcare, up to $2,000 a month, because these young folks sometimes have families.
Sure.
2, housing, up to $2,000 a month in rental assistance. If you are buying a house in the city of Long Beach, you can batch it together as down payment assistance.
Nice.
$24,000. If you lateral over, meaning you went through a different academy and you're going to switch from there to Long Beach and do some training and join our police force, we saved a lot of money by not putting you that academy. So we are giving $30,000 lateral bonus if you switch from another department to our department. Long Beach didn't used to do laterals. We had a culture where that wasn't preferred. But our police chief is a lateral.
Oh.
So the attitude has changed. The culture has changed. And, police went through a difficult time through 2020 to 2022.
Right.
And morale was down. So it goes a long way to put a big intentional focus on rallying around very openly and publicly, hiring police. We want to hire them and we want them to live in our local communities and have respect for our local communities. And frankly, it's working. Like, the job's not finished. We only been going for 3.5 years.
Right.
But this culture is different. Last year, 2025, was the first year in recorded history that we didn't have a single officer involved shooting in the city of Long Beach.
Wow.
A city that's larger than New Orleans, St. Louis, Miami, a city that is within 20, 25,000 people of the size of Atlanta.
Sure.
Give or take. I don't know the exact numbers. We're a pretty major city, and that is something we can't sneeze at. That's something that we need to acknowledge.
Right.
Are we done? No, we're not done until we're fully staffed. We're not done until we see that people's personal experience matches the data.
Right.
We want both of them to align. The other thing I'll say is, we hear this, we hear all the time, I don't feel safe. I know the data may say it. Well, that's true. We're hyper aware now. People get their news from social media. You may not have known, 20 years ago if something happened in a different neighborhood. We know about it immediately now. So our awareness is different.
Right.
But the data shows us, and I'm actually going to show you that on every major benchmark, we are trending in the right direction. This is violent crime trends over the last 20 years. Are we safer than we were 20 years ago? 19% decrease over the last 20 years in violent crime. But let's talk about the last 5 years. I came in right here, 2023. 2021, more than 400 shootings in our city. Last year, and every year, you've seen a decline. 2025, half of what we had. Less than what is that? Just north of 200. So more than 50% reduction. And between 2024 and 2025, 35% reduction in shootings. I hear the arguments that maybe people don't feel like calling or reporting the police. That there may be some truth to some of that. It's possible. But a statistical error of that amount on something as significant as a shooting or a homicide,
right?
Not realistic. The reality is we went through some very tough times during COVID and crime was significantly high. And nationally, we are seeing it head in the right direction. We're not done. There's more work to do, but we have to acknowledge our progress.
Right. What would you say in response? There's a candidate running for mayor who claims that other cities are offering more money to police officers and better packages. What is our what's our counter offer to that?
You're talking to the first mayor who's hired, who has put forward an incentive package, who our academy currently in Long Beach as the third largest law enforcement agency in the county. Our academy was larger than City of LA and County of LA, two major departments. You're talking to a mayor who's successfully 4.5 academies in 5 years. You're talking to a mayor who's got a proven track record of focusing on staffing. We know what we're doing and people are responding to it. The reality is some are offering incentives. Our incentive package is $78,000. There are some cities in Texas that are doing Cal Worthington Ford commercials and offering everything to come out there. But it's a different reality. You can buy homes for significantly cheaper out in those areas. And it's not apples to apple comparisons. We're a big city and we're competing with big agencies right next to us.
Right.
Orange County, at City of LA, County of LA. We're all competing for the same talent. We're focusing on local.
Right.
One of those things we're doing to focus on local, because we want to hire more people who came from our local communities, is we did a hiring preference. Meaning, through Measure JB, the Long Beach Jobs Promise, it's in our city charter now because voters adopted this in 2024, that if you live in our city or you graduated from Long Beach State, Long Beach City College, Compton College, which is on the border of North Long Beach, and Cal State Dominguez Hills, go Toros, you get a preference on a city job. But let's say the job doesn't require a degree. Let's say it's a Class A truck driver or a Class B license is required. Then you can get a preference for an approved apprenticeship in the city. Let's say you are working part-time or you're a non-career or temporary employee in the city and that permanent opportunity opens. You get a preference because you have that experience. Who better to work for our city than those people who went to school or were raised in our city? They bring an intrinsic value and a respect for our community. So that is something that we offer for our locals to try to give them an opportunity to have the benefit of a career in public service.
Right. I think another thing, when I talk to people across the city, they say, when my generation, when we were growing up.
I think we might be the same generation.
I'm Gen X.
Okay, well.
You're young.
Yeah, I'm like the oldest millennial. I was born in 83.
Oh, sorry about that. You're the same.
I might be the second oldest millennial.
People people across the city say when the older generations, when we were growing up, we would see the police at the grocery store off duty in church. So that is a focus that you guys
Absolutely.
really are focused
We
on.
would do, when I was a council member, we brought back community walks where we get out with the commander and literally walk and knock in the neighborhood. I mean, that hadn't happened since the 90s. We brought that back as a council member.
Sure.
Right before I became mayor, I proposed a program called the Neighborhood Safety Bike Teams.
Okay.
These are officers on bike beats that are working business corridors and parks on a bike. We funded that program with 16 officers. You got to staff them. It's all connected to the hiring. So we have to keep our focus on hiring. Patrol is the priority.
Sure.
Focus on patrol. But as you staff up, you can put more emphasis on traffic, neighborhood safety bike teams, quality of life. So it's all, but patrol is where it starts.
Sure.
You beef up patrol. These are the people who are out protecting us every day. And you continue to staff it so we're not, so we're able to do these specialized details that add to quality of life. But yeah, that's a major tenet of community policing. You got to get out of the car.
Yeah.
You got to walk down the street or jump on a bike, shake a hand, knock on a door.
Yeah.
Right.
How many police officers do we have actively working right now? And what's your end goal as far as hiring?
We want to be fully staffed. I think we have 790. How many? I think we have, let's see, it's right here, 797 sworn positions.
Okay.
And we used to be at about 25% vacancy. Now we're at about 15% vacancy.
Okay.
So the vacancy has actually diminished over time, but every year people retire.
Sure.
So you have to keep the pace.
Right.
So our pace of academies, we're going to continue in our city.
And within the policing system that we have here in Long Beach, there's different tiers of it for the people that are anti-police.
Yeah.
There's I forgot the committee or the organization you talked about earlier that goes out and meets people that are having mental health issues.
Yeah, the community crisis response team. Yeah.
Okay, can you talk about the different tiers of policing we have in our city currently and what your goal is?
I don't know what you mean by tiers. So you have...
when I think about policing, I think about, we don't need...
Everything doesn't require an armed response.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's why I created the first community crisis response team in the city as mayor.
Okay.
And now it's citywide. We'd love to add more, but we don't get funded by the state or the county to do that. So we're leveraging new resources. LA County Measure A, not the city Measure A. Same letter, different measure. This is a countywide measure that it goes to prevention services, keeping people in their homes, and sort of flexible strategies.
Sure.
We're leveraging some of those dollars to do the community crisis response team citywide. So we're now going citywide because of these dollars we're able to secure.
Sure.
We secured those dollars through an agency called La Casa.
Right.
LA County Affordable Housing Solutions Agency.
Okay.
I'm the chair of this agency for the past 2 years. I'm a co-founder of this agency. And so we've been able to secure about, $11 million a year to flexible things that can go to like renter assistance, right to counsel, get you legal protection, community crisis response team, shallow subsidies for seniors. That's like if a senior doesn't have the ability to make money, but your rent goes up $200, that could be a catastrophe.
Right.
I may not be able to afford as a city to pay the rent for every senior in the city. But if a senior needs $200 or $500 a month, we would be able to do that for 24 months.
Right.
That's a shallow subsidy. It means the world to someone who's trying to keep a roof over their heads. So that's what we did.
Right.
It's called the Upstream LB plan.
Okay.
So not everybody needs the same things, but we want to have new resources to help support people who are just trying to, keep a roof over their heads.
Right.
So all of that is connected to homelessness and safety. It's creating a safety net when, again, cities weren't required to do this years ago. Federal government did HUD and safety net. We were typically the front door. Now cities are having to step up and develop a local safety net because we can't we can't depend on the federal government the way that we have in the past.
Right. On the topic of the unhoused people, what is your response to the news stories, the investigation? What's your response to that?
Yeah. So, it's been, the city put out a statement. You can look at all the official stuff, but The way it works is if the auditor or any individual were to make a complaint through our audit hotline or request, more information, all of that is something that we have to respond to, right?
Sure.
And so if we find that invoices are out of order or something's wrong, no matter the size of the contract, it could affect all the business you do with the city.
Sure.
And so when I became mayor in 2023, we worked with our auditor. Our auditor started an homeless services audit in 2023. First year I became mayor because we need to make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And so and this is all within the statement, something was found on a contract that didn't meet our standard. It wasn't even the shelter services contract. This is actually in the statement. People glossed right over it.
Okay.
It was a separate contract, not related to shelter operations.
Oh.
But because it was the same shelter operator, we stopped payment on all of their contracts, including the shelters.
Okay.
To conduct the review of what's happening right here. Because we hold you to a high standard. If you don't meet that standard, we have the right to pull back on any city contract.
Sure.
So while we did this, we reviewed all of this, make sure this was fine. And then we went and severed with the company. We said, okay, we'll pay you all of this. We reviewed all this. We found no issues here. We paid you. We found issues here.
Right.
So we're going to sever with you and bring on a new operator.
Right.
So the city caught it early, learned about it September, stopped payment October, November, went through that process, successfully brought on a new operator without anybody being displaced. So that was incredibly successful. Because we caught this small thing, you prevent a larger issues from happening. And I think it sends a strong message that whoever we do business with, whether it's a homeless services contract, whether it's a workforce contract, we hold you to a high standard and we will take action and sever a contract if we deem that that's the most responsible thing to do. So that was all in the city statement. I think people focused more on the fact we fire them out of the contract, out of the shelters, even though the statement is clear as day. It said that we found an issue with a separate contract unrelated to shelter.
And you found that this last September. Where?
Yeah.
When did you find it? What year?
This was this past year. September,
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
Is when
Okay. And as far as the shelters that are on TV that appear to be empty, what's your response to that?
We're at 92% full on every shelter in our city.
Okay.
So yeah, I know somebody showed up with a camera, with a gotcha at a shelter that wasn't filled up. They showed up the week we kicked out the contractor. Of course, they're not bringing people in. And why is a candidate working with a contractor that we're in the middle of getting rid of in the city?
Interesting.
So someone has to ask the obvious questions. How the hell did you get in to a private shelter on a day they're getting kicked out? Maybe someone had an agenda to say, let's try to embarrass the city.
Okay.
Now, every shelter in our city is 92% occupied.
Sure. Do you think that the way that we're handling the homelessness situation is efficient? I don't know how you would measure that because some people don't want services, some people do.
Look, people try to take complex issues and boil it down to, especially around election time. All we have to do is this and we fix it.
Yeah.
These are not easy issues.
Well, the government's slow, right?
Yeah. Well,
in general.
Well, look, I mean, generally you could say that, but I think we've actually moved pretty quickly. When I became mayor, we didn't have shelter in every council district. We had a crisis of tents with no place for people to go.
Right.
In the last 3 years, we've expanded shelter capacity by 84% in our city. I remember the days when every year for the winter shelter, we would have a little bit of a political hot potato conversation on Not My Backyard. Where's the winter shelter going to go? North Long Beach, Central Long Beach. Today, we have interim housing and shelter in all 9 council districts in our city. We've come a very long way in a short period of time. I also know that folks will say, oh, homelessness increased this much percent since 2020. Most of that growth, 62%, was between 2020 and 2022, before I was even the mayor, because I started at the beginning of 2023. If you don't have places for shelter, you can't send people places. So we've expanded that shelter. So what's the result? The result is unsheltered homeless. The people you see sleeping on the street has declined 17% in the past 3 years. Consecutive declines every single year in unsheltered homelessness. Now, sheltered homelessness went up because we added more shelter. So if you double the size of shelter, there's more people living in the shelter. It's just arithmetic. I'd rather someone be in a shelter accepting services and on their pathway to permanent housing than on a street not connected to any shelter. So we have to get out of like the shock stuff and look at what the data actually tells you. Fewer people on the street, more people in shelter. That's a flow. But what we have to do every year, thousands of people come off the street, but thousands of people enter the street.
Right.
So we have to pivot upstream. How do you slow the flow of people becoming homeless? That's why the upstream LB work is so important. The shallow subsidies, the emergency rental assistance, all of those things, the legal counsel for people being evicted. All of that work is important to keep people in their homes.
Right.
So a part of this is, sure, it's election time. People will say, it's worse than it's ever been. Well, they're incentivized to do that. But I would bet on Long Beach over any other city, big city in California that's doing this work. We all talk together. We all see what's happening. It's a reason why, like I showed you in our office, some of these places, 3.5 years ago, these places were not, you couldn't go to Billie Jean King. I mean, you couldn't go to, Harvey Milk Park.
The park.
You couldn't go to Lincoln Park. You couldn't go to Gumbiner Park. You had a big encampment in the middle of Houghton Park up in North Long Beach, Veterans Park. They're fully activated, restored for the community today. So there's a direct correlation between shelter and unsheltered homelessness. And that's where we've been focused the last 3.5 years, getting people off the street and into shelter. And now we're moving upstream to prevent people from the inflow of homelessness to begin with.
Do you think that our homelessness count is accurate? Is it counting people that are couch surfing, living with their parent, living in their cars?
It does.
I really worry about elderly people.
You should come out to the point in time count. Have you done it?
I haven't. I've tried to do it, and there's always something that comes up, but I do want to do it.
You should do it. So the point in time count gives you the full picture. It's not perfect because it's a point in time.
Of course.
So there could be things that happen right at that point in time. For example, last year we did the point in time count a week into the wildfires.
Right. Oh gosh.
Right. 2 weeks into the wildfires. Lots of displacement. We opened up our hotels. We had a lot more. And it showed about 5% of people that we actually found and surveyed were directly displaced from the fire.
Sure.
You have to count that. Other agencies actually moved their count back a couple months, so it didn't show up in their numbers.
Sure.
But it did show up in ours because we kept our date, because we're a public health city. Like we keep it up, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's a point in time, but it gives you the full picture of like people who are sleeping in cars, sleeping on the street, people who are in shelter. If you're in shelter, you're still counted in our point in time count.
Okay.
So I challenge you to, when things come out, when we look at these point in time counts, look at what it says. What's the data telling you?
Sure.
If people in shelters is increased, did we add a new shelter? Did a new shelter come online? And what did that mean for people on the street? Did fewer people living on the street? We owe it to ourselves to be able to have that level of discussion. The other part is we show all of this. We have a comprehensive homelessness dashboard.
Right.
I don't think any other city in LA County, maybe LA, no, I don't think they have one. A comprehensive homelessness dashboard online.
Yeah.
I don't think a single other city in LA County has that.
What is our plan with the homeless people during the Olympics? And I do have to say
we're not going to hide the homeless during the Olympics.
I have to say across the board, when I talk to people around the city, nobody's mad at the homeless people.
Yeah.
Everybody has so much compassion here.
Right.
But what is the solution?
I don't know. One of these guys wants to get the National Guard to come out and sweep up all the homeless.
What is your thought on having the National Guard canvass?
That is not even real. Give me a break.
That makes me feel scared and sad, honestly.
Not in Long Beach.
Thank you.
We will never elect a mayor with those types of views. That will never happen in this city.
What? Yeah, that is interesting. Yes. I was going to ask you that. What your thoughts are on the National Guard?
No, we take care of our own in our city.
Yeah.
Last thing we need with all the stuff happening with ICE is a military force or a paramilitary force enforcing laws on our street. That's why we're building up our local police department.
Right.
That's why we're prioritizing people who live in our local community.
What would you say?
These are things that people throw around loosely as if we're not dealing with what we're dealing with this regime in the White House.
Right.
It's a non-starter.
Well, speaking on that, what is your response to people that feel that the city didn't do enough when, well, it's still happening, immigration enforcement is going on?
Well, we do everything that we can. The city of Long Beach was the first city to put forward a comprehensive plan. When we say comprehensive, legal resources, millions of dollars of legal resources through the Justice Fund to help people who are going through legal proceedings, deportation actions against them. Additional resources for outreach through community connectors. We're the first city to put out a plan that actually includes housing assistance. Because if a breadwinner were to be deported or detained, they have children in our schools. They're now vulnerable and susceptible. Those are still members of our community, no matter your documentation status.
Right.
So we're the first city in LA County to deploy new resources, because our job isn't to do federal enforcement action; it's to take care of the people of our community. We're all members of the same community. We deploy resources for know your rights for businesses, because there are things that businesses can do to protect themselves. We updated our Long Beach Values Act twice. The first time was before Trump was even sworn in. When we saw the results of the election, the very first council meeting in January, we updated our Long Beach Values Act. We did it again in August. We were the first city in LA County to do ICE-free zones. We called it show us your papers zones. We didn't call it ICE-free zones. The word ICE-free got popular in Chicago. So once people saw Mayor of Chicago do it, they said, Mayor, please do ICE-free zones. And we said we did it in August. We just called it show us your papers zone to create an additional restricted area where immigration enforcement actions can't take place. And we're not going to stop. I know that this is evolving. We've created a whole team of attorneys and folks in our city who are like fighting against this administration to protect the resources that help serve our communities, to help protect the rights of our communities. We're working with the Attorney General, Bonta, to do those things. We've joined numerous lawsuits to protect the civil rights. We've testified at 2 congressional oversight hearings. I personally testified at both of those because we know we want to put these stories down on the record when Democrats, because we're all away from City Hall and talk politically, when we take the House back, we want to hold folks accountable. So the city of Long Beach, we know that we are a very diverse community. We speak 200 languages. We have a proud, diverse immigrant community. And immigration enforcement is not a local action. And we're going to stand up for every one of our residents, no matter who you love, how you pray, or what language you speak, or your documentation status. That's who we are.
When you started working on I think it's the California State Immigration Dashboard, or is it the federal with Robert Garcia?
Yeah, that was federal.
So I appreciate that you were participating in that, because I followed all of it deeply.
Oh, good.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. And we're going to look, and we're not stopping, right? Like, I think Washington and, whatever their logic is, I think there was a bit of a slowdown based on public opinion turned on them. So you use this time to prepare, because they're gonna try to come back.
Right.
So don't say it's over.
No, definitely not.
Right. So this is the time that we continue to work with community groups, continue to work with our city attorney to inoculate and protect our community through this process. So as the mayor, your job is to take the hits.
Right.
There's a lot of pain in our community. This administration has been an all-out attack on local cities and local communities. But our job is also to give hope that we're never going to waver on our values, and we're going to stick together as a community. We're not going to say what's politically expedient just because it's election time. This is where we were in January. We've gotten better at it. There were things we needed to learn.
Sure.
Because there's no playbook for how to protect your city from your own government. And so we're talking mayor to mayor, city to city, and figuring it out as we go. And we're going to do everything we can to protect our immigrant communities and all of our residents that are under attack.
Is there anything that you wish in that area of ICE and immigration enforcement, do you wish you would have done something different? I mean, it was a learning curve for the whole country.
Well,
But what do you wish
again,
you
we
could
were
have
the
done different?
first in LA County to do any of these actions. The first.
Okay.
We're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to work with the community and in partnership with other jurisdictions. I think, there's certainly more to learn. I think the more support we can get from our attorney general, different levels of government cooperation, I think is important. I think we can continue to, like, the spirit of it's all of us together versus the problem, not all of us versus one another, because that's kind of what they want. They want us to do their work for them.
Right.
We shouldn't be making this situation harder on one another.
We should help each other.
We should be helping each other. This is a moment for unity across city boundaries, state and local jurisdictions, and neighbors to support each other so that we can make it through it. I mean, that's every major sort of era in our civil rights history, our immigrant rights history, our labor rights movement. Solidarity is what's gotten us through every single time.
Right.
That's the only thing that works.
Do you want to speak on, this is off topic from the city, but any thoughts on the Voting Rights Act?
Absolutely.
I want to hear it.
So, this stuff is personal for me.
Of course.
So, sometimes I get hit that I wasn't born in Long Beach. It's true. I was, born on Scott Air Force Base in Belleville, Illinois. My father was in the Air Force. But I don't remember much about that because my mother and father divorced. I was really raised by my mom. And my mom was raised in the Jim Crow South. My mom was the first, her and her brother were the first 2 of 5 children to integrate their elementary school in Pickens County, Alabama.
Wow.
When she was 7 years old.
Wow.
She was the first. She was put up to do this by my grandmother, her mom, who in the civil rights movement, she protested Governor George Wallace, who fought to keep Black students from integrating the University of Alabama. Our grandmother was out there protesting. These are the stories I grew up with about this movement, and it was never about themselves. It was always about the future. My grandmother passing that to her daughter. My mom sharing those stories with myself and my sister and my brother. We believe that you have a responsibility to our communities and to leave the future better. Now, right now, we are seeing an all-out attack on voting rights. We have voter suppression actively taking place. We have things happening in California that we thought was limited to the South.
I know.
There's a proposition on the ballot for November on voter ID. That is a voter suppression law on the ballot in California. This makes us wonder, what would our ancestors do in this moment? Because this isn't the first time we've seen, attacks on Department of Education and voting rights and all. What would they do? They would tell us to stick together. An injury to one is an injury to all. When they come for one of us, they come from all of us. So we can't turn a blind eye to what's happening. The abuse of the Voting Rights Act, the loss of the Voting Rights Act, and the abuse that's happening in the South right now, where people are gerrymandering lines in state legislatures who now draw the lines for congressional offices. All of that's happening there. So we have a responsibility to, as California, to cast an eye and participate and think about what's happening in those other areas. Now, I may have a different perspective on this than other mayors in the past of Long Beach, because I am the first Black mayor of the city. And so I do spend time. I joined the African American Mayors Association. I'm on the board. We have conference calls and meetings regularly about how we all can speak up about what's happening on voting rights, how we can lend our national voice, how we can raise money, how we can support different folks. Just today, Jasmine Crockett was in town, and we had a full conversation just about how we can help fight against these the gerrymandering that's happening and the diminishing of voting rights in other states, and this ridiculous ballot measure, a potential ballot measure in November that we're gonna have to fight against in our city. So yeah, we do have our responsibility to take care of our local community. We can't be silent while these things are happening in our community. So yeah, we're obviously opposed. I think it's shameful what happened on the Voting Rights Act. And that just means we're gonna have to fight harder. But it also means that we we got to work together.
Can you?
There's a bigger threat here to all of us. And we need, and that in those moments, we should focus on solidarity and focus on November. The biggest thing we can do at the ballot box this year is flip the House. That should be our number one focus.
How can people, I tell people all the time to send emails, write letters, and call. Does that really make a difference? Because people people feel helpless. People that are so far, some people don't even know this is going on, which blows my mind. Right. But how can people feel like they are making a difference? Does it make a difference to call and write and email and protest and all the things?
I think it absolutely makes a difference. But I can't blame people for not paying attention. It's a lot going on.
Yeah, people are.
Right? Cost of living and just the way we consume news.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're hyper aware of everything that happens now. So it's hard to hone in. When we were kids, you got probably 3 channels to watch to get your news and then the local newspaper.
And our moms didn't let us watch TV.
Right. But you got the local newspaper. You have those things when you're coming up. Today, everything's immediate and there's no real time to even process what's happening.
Right.
And that makes it difficult to prioritize what's important, what is not.
Sure.
And so there has to be a little bit of trust that's built. There's a little bit of you need to create a network of like trusted people where you analyze things and talk through it together. I think mental health is incredibly important right now, especially with young people, because you're getting it from all sides. Everything that's happening overseas, right? All of that's happening. So I don't blame people for not being able to keep up with everything that's going on. But I will tell you, we're keeping an eye on some of those things.
Super. I mean,
we're keeping an eye on that. There are threats in California. I've joined this national board. We've never been a part of this board because we never had a black mayor. So we never were invited to the conversation. Now we're in that conversation and we're pretty engaged.
Why did you decide to endorse Javier Becerra?
Finally, you want to ask the question? Well, look, and you follow my social media, so I know you pay attention to this. So I invited the candidates for California governor to Long Beach over the past few months.
Right.
And virtually everyone, I won't say the one person who didn't come, but virtually everyone came to Long Beach. And
that person was just here this weekend. I have an idea who that person is.
You don't know. But we had an opportunity to actually sit down, break bread, talk with the candidates, talk about Long Beach issues. We toured some local companies. We toured Vast, that's building the world's first commercial space station in Long Beach. We toured Relativity Space, who's doing these massive reusable rockets. We toured the Queen Mary. We talked about the oil islands. We talked about the transition, our economic transition, and we got to really spend time. And this was important for me because Long Beach is a top 10 city in California. We're number 7.
Sure.
We matter. Our votes matter. And as mayor, I wanted to make sure that I was judicious about who I throw my weight behind because when I back somebody, I'm all in.
Right.
And you learn a lot by seeing people on the ground. Who is spending time to ask that extra question? Who's really trying to understand and build a deep appreciation for your community? And as I went through that process, one candidate stood out to me. It was Javier Becerra. Now, I'd known Javier because I remember when he was Attorney General. And I've sat down with him a number of times. He gave me advice when the Trump 2.0 came in. I asked him for advice on how we should navigate, and he gave really solid advice. And I know a number of the candidates. But what really stood out was his care and attention to Long Beach and listening to our issues and offering thoughtful advice. And by the way, he's the most qualified candidate for the job. I know right now it's easy to get behind people with social media and celebrities and all the stuff happening in the mayor's race in LA and AI and all of those are distractions.
Right.
The root work for governor is govern. Who can actually do the job? And Becerra, when he was Attorney General in California, 120 different lawsuits against the federal government to protect our rights and protect our freedoms and protect our institutions. As Health and Human Services Secretary, he expanded coverage for 24 million Americans. And this is a time when healthcare coverage is in jeopardy.
Right.
120,000 people in the city of Long Beach count on Medicare right now and their healthcare is in jeopardy.
Right.
So the next governor needs to be able to hit the ground running on day one, needs to know how to answer the phone, needs to know where Long Beach is.
Right.
And needs to know and understand, it's about bringing companies to our city and all of that in our state. But it's also about taking care of families who are vulnerable.
Right.
And that's why I threw my weight behind Governor Becerra, and I did it before the bump. Like
Me
his
too.
polling wasn't that high. We were like, can this guy win? We backed him, and then we saw a lot of people were coming to make the same choice.
Yeah.
And we were just together this morning with Jasmine Crockett doing a get out the vote event, and we're going to continue to work to make sure that we have a governor who, again, will represent all of us, not just some of us, and knows how to answer the phone and knows where Long Beach is.
I like him because I tell everybody he was progressive before progressive was cool, fighting for LGBTQ rights, fighting for women's health, all of it.
Okay, here are just a few things you should know.
Okay.
So this is something that's happening. It's not unique to Long Beach. These are, of the top 10 cities, 8 of them show deficits this year.
Oh.
So it is not unique.
Okay.
Revenue per capita comparison, this is super important. So revenue per capita, this shows how much your revenue you get per resident in your city. We actually don't get that much revenue per resident in our city. We have a lot of residents, but our revenue is actually not high, not as high as people think. That's important for people to know. People say we have the highest sales tax in California. It's actually not true. These cities have higher sales taxes than the city of Long Beach, and these all match our cities.
Interesting.
So these are all the cities with the same sales tax. These are the cities that actually have higher sales taxes.
Okay.
Okay. People say 80 million. No, it's 61.3 million is what the projection is. Now, what does it tell us about the future? We got a difficult year here, but look what happens next year. Next year, we end up beginning to show a surplus every year. So we got to get through a difficult year. Now, has there ever been a difficult year in the past?
And the federal government not helping doesn't help, right?
Why can't you use port money? Mythbuster. Port money is legally restricted, can't be used.
Okay.
Why can't you use airport money? Legally restricted to every you can't use it.
Okay.
Why do we continue to build streets and infrastructure if you have a deficit? It's not the same money.
Okay.
Infrastructure money, even in deficit. Yes, this is why I wanted to give this to you.
Okay.
Why do we add a new green cart and switch out the purple carts? State law.
Okay.
Right? Why do we continue other programs like supporting business grants and all that? Why are we still doing that if you got a deficit? These are paid for with outside funding and grants or restricted funds. With recent utility rates, like why can't that go to the deficit? Utilities rates have to go to the production of the utility.
Okay.
You cannot use that. So these people, they raised money for the debt. No, it's not related.
Okay.
Is it due to overspending? It's not caused by overspending. It reflects a sharp turn down in revenue.
Okay.
So revenue grows every year, but if you see that interest rates are high, and a lot of realtors in the city, are you a realtor too?
No.
Okay, a lot of people are realtors. When interest rates are high, people stop doing everybody's a realtor now. So if you see interest rates go up, people stop doing projects on their homes. So you get less property taxes, or the sale of homes, it slows down.
Sure.
That affects our revenue. Wasn't there a surplus? Where did it go? Rex blew the surplus. No, we hadn't had a revenue surplus since Measure A passed back in 2016.
Okay.
In COVID, all the revenue dried up during COVID. And we were giving one-time dollars from the federal government to help plug the hole.
That makes sense.
So, right. So every major city in California ended up in the revenue hole. So we've managed that. When I became mayor in 2023, we did a 5-year projection, just like I just showed you. And it showed $80 million over 5 years. So this was not something that showed up today. This is something we projected 3 years ago.
Right.
And a lot of it was due to COVID. So there was no surplus, unfortunately. But I will be the first mayor to deliver a surplus in some time, because we're showing a surplus. We get through a difficult year. Next year and every year after, we show a surplus. Is the current deficit worse than it's been before? No. During the Great Recession, when Mayor Foster, who has a great reputation for being a fiscally strong mayor, he had deficits.
Interesting. That was 2008-ish, right?
Right. He had deficits 6 out of the 8 years as mayor.
Interesting.
We can get through one bad year.
Okay.
Right. And are there potential revenues can help? Yeah. The county is doing one to help the health department called Measure ER to help protect block these federal cuts. That helps Long Beach.
I'm voting yes on that, right?
I'm voting yes on that. And
there's one of your people running against you is telling people to vote no.
That should tell you, vote no on something. We're a health department city. We're one of only 3 cities in California with a health department. Why would the mayor not say, let's save our health department? Come on, that doesn't make any sense. And this is about having the whole county pay to support what we do. Because what'll happen is if these cuts go into effect, these federal cuts go into effect,
hit us.
the clinics are going to close in many of these communities around us. That means they're going to go to the ERs. Where are the emergency rooms?
Right.
Long Beach.
Right.
Do you think our emergency rooms are ready to take on the burden from all these cities? No.
Right.
So we need all of them to pay to help support this.
Yeah.
Right. Why aren't there enough efforts to grow revenue? I just talked through all the stuff we're doing, you know, so we could say we don't want to do this. We don't want to have an amphitheater, but we need to grow revenue.
Stay there for a second. Thank you for meeting with me today.
I just don't be having as much time. I wanted to do this. I just haven't had a lot of time.
No. It's okay.